You've probably noticed small changes you couldn't quite explain. A supplement that used to be easy to find suddenly costs more. Another one quietly disappears from the shelf. It feels random at first, but it isn't. Most people assume access stays stable as long as nothing alarming is announced. However, that assumption is exactly what creates blind spots. Because restrictions don't arrive loudly, they arrive quietly, gradually, almost invisibly. Here's the reversal few people consider. If you want consistency, don't wait for reassurance. Don't wait for confirmation. Instead, pay attention while everything still looks normal. Although nothing dramatic appears to be happening, behind the scenes, formulations are changing, approvals are tightening, and availability is becoming less predictable. On the other hand, those who notice early don't need to scramble later. This isn't about fear, yet it is about timing. And once the first example becomes clear, the pattern reveals itself, and it becomes very hard to ignore. Number 10. Vitamin C. It's the supplement most people assume will always be there. Common, familiar, almost invisible. But that certainty is exactly why shortages surprise people. Vitamin C supports immunity, recovery, and tissue repair. Yet it's often the first thing people reach for when something feels off. Over time, formulations shift. Dosages get capped. Certain forms quietly disappear. However, this isn't because vitamin C lost its value. Standards and compliance rules keep tightening. That leads to fewer choices, more low-dose options, higher prices for the forms people rely on. This isn't something you want to chase last minute. Under stress, the body uses vitamin C quickly. Having it on hand isn't dramatic, it's stabilizing. Form matters. Ascorbic acid works, but buffered forms like calcium or sodium ascorbate are often easier on the stomach. Powders store well. Capsules travel easily. Liquids spoil faster than many expect. Store it cool and dry. Rotate older stock forward. Vitamin C removes uncertainty. You're not scrambling, you're prepared. And once you notice how something this basic becomes harder to access, you start paying attention to what comes next. Number 9. Vitamin B12. This one doesn't disappear overnight. It slips away quietly. Vitamin B12 supports energy, nerve function, and mental clarity. You don't notice it doing its job, but you notice when something starts to feel off. What makes B12 tricky is absorption. Over time, efficiency drops. Forms get reformulated. However, most people don't connect the change until everyday energy feels harder to maintain. Dosage standards tighten. Certain delivery methods become less common. That leaves fewer dependable options and more confusion at the shelf. This isn't something you want to correct late. Low B12 doesn't come with a clear warning. It shows up as fatigue, brain fog, a vague sense that focus isn't what it used to be. Here, form matters more than brand. Cyanocobalamin is common, but methylcobalamin is often preferred. Tablets are simple. Sublingual forms bypass digestion. Liquids require careful storage. Keep it cool, keep it dry, check expiration dates regularly. B12 offers reassurance in a different way. It supports steadiness, mental sharpness, and the confidence that your energy isn't left to chance. Once that clicks, it becomes clear why some gaps are easier to prevent than to fix later. Number 8. Vitamin D3. Most people only think about this one when something already feels wrong, but by then, you're reacting instead of staying ahead. Vitamin D3 supports bones, muscle strength, and immune balance. It also affects mood and resilience in ways people don't always connect right away. However, availability and quality can vary more than most shoppers realize. Here's what quietly changes. Potency differs between brands. Softgels, tablets, and drops don't all absorb the same. Yet labels can look nearly identical, which makes quick buying a common mistake. When rules tighten or supply gets disrupted, the weaker options stay. The dependable ones get scarce. That's when prices jump, and people end up settling for whatever is left. This isn't something you want to gamble on, Practically, D3 is best taken with food that contains fat. That simple detail improves absorption. Many people also pair it with K2. But even before you do that, the first step is choosing a form you'll actually use consistently. Storage is simple. Keep it in a cool, dry place. Avoid heat and sunlight, especially with liquid drops. Vitamin D3 brings a particular kind of peace of mind. It supports stability, bones, strength, and confidence in your body. So you're not hoping you'll catch up later. You're quietly staying ready week after week. Number 7. Magnesium. This is the one people overlook until their body starts sending signals. But by then, it's usually been missing for a while. Magnesium supports muscles, sleep, and the nervous system. It plays a role in relaxation and recovery. However, modern diets don't provide much of it anymore, and stress burns through reserves faster than most realize. What complicates things is choice. Oxide, citrate, glycinate. Labels look similar, yet effects can feel very different depending on the form. As standards tighten, simpler and cheaper forms remain easy to find. The better absorbed options become harder to spot. That's when people buy something, take it faithfully, and still feel no difference. This isn't something you want to guess with. Practically speaking, form matters more than dose. Magnesium glycinate is often chosen for calm and sleep. Citrate is more stimulating for digestion, but taking it late in the day, consistently, is what makes the real difference for many. Store it dry, seal the bottle well, and don't mix multiple forms without a clear reason. Magnesium offers a quiet kind of relief. Better rest, less tension. A sense that your body can finally slow down when it needs to. And once you experience that steadiness, you understand why this is one gap worth closing early. Number 6. Zinc. You rarely notice this one when everything is working smoothly. It stays out of the spotlight. But the moment it's missing, your body feels slightly less defended. Zinc plays a role in immune response, wound healing, and the senses you depend on every day. Taste, smell, skin repair. However, because it works quietly, many people underestimate its importance until recovery slows down. What shifts first is balance, not demand. Elemental amounts change. Certain combinations disappear. Yet shelves still appear full, which makes it easy to believe nothing has changed. When availability tightens, the simplest formulas stay visible. Better balanced options become harder to find. That's when people either take too much or stop taking it altogether. This isn't something to handle casually. Practically, restraint matters more than quantity. Too much zinc can interfere with copper balance. But a modest, consistent dose supports most routines best. Lozenges serve a purpose. Capsules are easier to manage long-term. Keep it stored in a dry place. Seal the bottle properly, and always check totals before combining products. Zinc delivers reassurance in a subtle way. Faster healing, more reliable resistance. Over time, you realize that steady protection was doing far more than you ever noticed. Number 5. Omega-3, fish oil. This one works on a longer timeline. You don't feel it kick in, but over months and years, you notice the difference when it's missing. Omega-3 supports cardiovascular health, joint comfort, and brain function. It helps the body stay adaptable instead of rigid. However, effectiveness here depends heavily on quality and consistency. What changes first is the source. Purity standards shift. Concentrations fluctuate, yet bottles often look nearly identical, which makes quick decisions misleading. When supply tightens, lower-grade oils remain widely available. Cleaner, more concentrated options become harder to find. That's when people take capsules daily and still question whether they're getting real benefits. This isn't something to take on autopilot. Practically focus on the details that matter. Check EPA and DHA levels, not just fish oil on the front. Triglyceride forms absorb well, but comfort and consistency matter most. Take it with food, split doses if needed. Storage plays a bigger role than many expect. Heat and light degrade oils. Keep containers sealed. Refrigeration can help extend freshness for liquid forms. Omega-3 offers reassurance that builds slowly. Easier movement, clearer thinking, a steady sense that you're supporting your body over time. Once you recognize how quickly quality can erode without notice, you stop assuming all options in this category are created equal. Number 4. Vitamin K2. This one doesn't stand out on a label. It works behind the scenes. But without it, important processes lose direction. Vitamin K2 supports bone integrity and vascular health. It doesn't create new benefits. However, it ensures that what you already take is used properly. The changes here are easy to miss. Standalone forms get blended. Dosages vary significantly. Yet packaging remains familiar, which makes quick choices misleading. As options narrow, basic versions stay easy to find. Well-balanced forms become harder to identify. That's when routines slowly lose effectiveness without a clear reason. This isn't something to treat loosely. Practically, K2 often works alongside D3, but consistency matters more than stacking supplements. MK7 remains active longer. MK4 works more quickly. Selecting one and sticking with it usually brings better results than frequent switching. Store it away from heat and light. Soft gels remain stable. Liquids require extra care. Vitamin K2 provides a sense of order. Nothing extra, just proper placement. And once you notice how easily that direction can disappear from availability, you understand why this quiet support deserves attention sooner rather than later. Number 3. Vitamin A. This nutrient often comes with mixed signals. Caution on one side, assumptions on the other, but clarity is usually missing in between. Vitamin A supports vision, immune defense, and skin integrity. It operates quietly. However, because it's potent, it's also closely regulated, and that affects how it appears on shelves. The first change is usually form. Preformed vitamin A becomes less visible. Blends take its place. Yet packaging stays familiar, making shifts easy to overlook. When access tightens, routines drift. Some people avoid it entirely. Others rely too heavily on substitutes without understanding the difference. Neither approach supports balance. This isn't something to handle on impulse. Practically, form matters. Retinol palmitate acts directly. Beta-carotene requires conversion. But that conversion varies widely, which makes moderation and consistency more valuable than chasing higher numbers. Store it correctly. Keep it sealed. Review total intake before combining sources. Vitamin A supports confidence in quiet ways. Clearer vision, stronger protective barriers. A sense that foundational defenses are being maintained. And when you understand how quickly certainty can turn into guesswork with this nutrient, it becomes clear why informed, steady choices matter more than urgency. Number 2. Vitamin E. This vitamin tends to stay in the background. It doesn't promise quick results, but it quietly supports what your body is already doing right. Vitamin E helps protect cells, supports circulation, and aids recovery from daily wear. It acts as a stabilizer rather than a booster. However, because its effects aren't obvious, many people assume any version will work the same. That's where the shift happens. Natural forms become harder to find. Synthetic blends remain widely available, yet the difference isn't clear from the front label, which makes fast choices unreliable. As options narrow, quality slips first. People continue buying. They just don't receive the same level of support over time. This isn't something to set and forget. Practically, form matters more than dosage. D-alpha points to a natural form. DL-alpha signals a synthetic one. But consistency matters just as much. Irregular use weakens the benefit. Store it away from heat and light. Soft gels remain stable. Liquid forms need more careful handling. Vitamin E supports preservation rather than progress, keeping systems steady, maintaining balance. Once you recognize how quietly quality can erode, you stop assuming this kind of protection will always take care of itself. Number 1. Vitamin B6. Some nutrients work in isolation. This one connects systems that rarely get discussed together, but because it operates across so many processes, it's easy to miss its importance. Vitamin B6 supports metabolism, brain chemistry, and nervous system balance. It helps the body convert food into usable energy. However, even small shifts here can ripple outward faster than most people expect. What changes first is clarity. Dosage limits get debated. Standalone versions become harder to find. Yet B6 keeps appearing in blended products, making it difficult to track how much you're actually taking. When transparency fades, routines lose structure. People unknowingly stack products. Others avoid B6 entirely, unsure where the safe line sits. This isn't something to leave undefined. Practically, moderation creates stability. Pyridoxine HCl is common. P5P is the active form. But steady, lower doses tend to support balance better than chasing higher numbers. Store it cool and dry. Review what's already included in your multivitamin. And avoid doubling intake without intention. Vitamin B6 supports coordination at a foundational level. Energy flows more smoothly. Signals stay aligned. Systems work together instead of competing. And when you see how easily that coordination can unravel through small, unnoticed changes, it becomes clear why this nutrient quietly anchors the entire picture. None of these were about panic. They were about timing. Small changes happen quietly, access shifts, quality fades. And the people who stay calm are usually the ones who noticed early. Preparation isn't fear, it's care for your routine, your health, and your peace of mind. If this helped you see things a little more clearly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's changing next. Staying one step ahead is easier when you don't have to do it alone.